Good morning, all the dignitaries, respected principal, head of the Department of Zoology, Dr. Kakote sir, all the professors from different departments, research scholars, and UG-PG students who are being the participants of this session. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all for this second day, third session of the lecture series entitled Zoological Research, Current Perspectives, Opportunities and Future Scope. Today, we are fortunate enough to have an eminent speaker for this session. I would first welcome our speaker, Dr. Radhakrishna S. Pandit sir. Even this 1 hour session will be less to introduce our honorable speaker. Sir is currently working as a professor at Department of Zoology, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. He has more than 27 years of teaching experience. Sir currently recently has been his gold medalist at MSc Zoology, and he has completed his PhD in zoology from Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University. Sir is also a recipient of several prizes and awards. He has been awarded with Rajaram Bhute Prize, State Paryavaran Puraskar, Eco Revolution Puraskar, Honorary Fellowship, that is FSESC, as well as a Prominent Scientist of the Year 2017 award. Sir is also guide of PhD and MPhil at Department of Zoology, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, and he has, and more than 12 students have been worked under the guidance of Dr. Pandit sir. Currently, 5 of his students have completed their PhD and 4 of the students have completed their MPhil. Sir has also completed several major and minor projects in university, and he has a vast contribution in the pedagogy and innovations of teaching. Sir has also been on several important positions. He has been the former head at the Department of Zoology, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. He has attended and presented papers in more than 60 conferences and seminars. Also, sir has more than 60 research publications in reputed national and international journals. So, we are being very fortunate to have you with us, sir. And now I welcome our guest and give the mic to Dr. Pandit sir to continue with today's third session.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Principal Dr. Vijay Rayapal, Principal of KTHN College, Head of the Department, Dr. Kakulte sir, and faculty members of the Zoology Department, undergraduate students, PG students, and research scholars. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks for giving me opportunity to have an interaction with you. This is just, I would like to put it on record that KTHN College is doing very excellent work. They are implementing the UGC programs. One of the prestigious programs of UGC, that is STRIDE. It is one of the creditable or one of the prestigious activity being conducted by KTHN College. So for that purpose also I would like to congratulate the entire college and the coordinator of the college for implementing such UGC schemes for the benefit of the students, research students, faculty and other staffs. Okay, now before I start my actual talk, I would like to divide my talk into 2 parts. As Dr. Ramnath has told me that the topic of my topic would be zoological research, current perspectives, opportunities, and future scope. I thought that I can share with you my talk. In first talk, I will try to explain what sort of the general research is going on in the country or in foreign countries, and what are the opportunities and the scope for that. I will try to cover in my first part, and the second part would be I will focus on whatever the research which we are conducting in our laboratory. Also, I will try to compare with the other activities being carried out across the globe by international reputed scientists. That will also simultaneously I will try to explain or try to share with you. Yes, this is what my part is divided into. Talk of the part is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Okay. Now, second part, which I would like to see, the first part being, as the topic which was given to me as a zoology research, current perspectives, opportunities, and future scope. Now we'll have to understand our role, that where we stand and what we are supposed to do, being a zoologist. Okay. Now, being a zoologist, what we are supposed to do and what opportunities we have to grab, and after grabbing that opportunities, how we open the avenues for creating employees or opportunities for the to provide employment through the zoology research or through the zoologists. Okay. Now this is just very general thing which I would like to share with you. Being a zoologist. Okay. Now what sort of, suppose for example we are zoologists. What sort of the role we have to play, and after what doing our particular research in the subject of zoology, where the opportunities or the where we can go or we can recommend our students, okay, to find the opportunities or to work in the capacity as a zoologist. Okay. Now this slide, hello, this slide is visible, Ramnath? Hello? Hello?
Yes, visible.
Yeah. Just in between, I will take feedback that whether I am audible or the slides are visible or not, because technical problem. This may so in between, I take feedback whether the audible or the slides are visible or not. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Zoologists. We all are zoologists because we have to do something for the betterment of the society through our research. Now, our research main focus will be on the popularization of the subject and to carry out the research and what sort of message which we give to the society through research. Okay. Now, for example, suppose being a zoologist. So this is very general. What I would like to share with my students, that after completing your zoology, master degree in zoology or MPhil degree or postgraduate degree in zoology, where we can work, or what are the other sectors where we can get opportunity to work as a zoologist or to do something for the society. Now, for example, if I divide it, there are various sectors which are there, where the zoologists are offered various kinds of opportunities or jobs. For example, there is the government sector, industrial sector, and private sectors. Now, if you elaborate the government sector, okay, as I told you in the beginning, because the first part, what I will talk about the general. So this is what general thing which I would like to put before you. Now, government sector. Everybody is asking for, everybody is planning, everybody is trying to get job in the government sector. Okay. Nowadays, due to much competition, or due to there is a competition going on to have these kinds of the jobs in the government sector. Now, what are the government sectors? Other than government sector, there is the industrial sector, there is the private sector, which are available for the opportunities or for the zoologists, where they can go and join particular industries and they can get absorbed there in particular sector. For example, if you talk about the government sector, there are education sectors. When you talk about this education sector, there are many institutes. Okay, in education sector, there are, what sort of the stakeholder you will be, or what sort of the stakeholders you wanted to be. Okay, now, for example, in education sector, we talk about the teacher. Okay, now then, if you wanted to go for the teacher or university professor or a researcher, you need to select a particular education sector. Now, education sector, what the first attracts at lower level in the education sector, for example, school, college, and universities. Okay, and other than this, school, colleges, universities, there are some other institutes which are spread across India, across globe, there are some institutes. I will show you after this the biomedical research, because I would like to focus on the biomedical research. But before biomedical research, there are many sectors which I would like to show you here, how these biomedical sectors and other sectors which are providing you the job opportunities. Okay. If you talk about the biomedical research, for example, in India there is a Indian ICMR or ICAR. There are research institutes controlled by the government of India. For example, if you talk about the Indian Council of Medical Research, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and many other, the research institutes are there. They are offering good jobs for the zoologists. Okay, so I will come to that later. Now, after that, again, there are zoos. Being a zoologist, okay, in countries there are many zoos or sanctuaries. Okay, or zoos where what sort of the job is given for the zoologist. In India we have plenty of zoos are there. In that zoos, the opportunity is given for the zoologist to be as a caretaker or to be as a curator or to be as a say for example curator or some other kinds of jobs. The handler are given to the persons those who are skilled with the zoology. Generally that is in the zoos. Besides that, there are national parks, sanctuaries, biological laboratories, museums, archives. Many. Because if you compare the other countries, for example, United States or UK, there are very large museums they have maintained there. For example, museums. The Natural History Museum, London, one of the best. Or in USA also there are many museums where we can see the animals right from invertebrate to vertebrate or from lower animals to higher animals which are nicely preserved there, maintained in that museum. And in order to look after them, the zoologists are given chance to be as a caretaker. Okay, that means by providing sort of opportunities to be as an expert in that, you will be given a chance to take care of the that museum, archives, or the biological laboratories or sanctuaries, national parks. Okay, to take care of that or to maintain. For example, if it is the museum, it is archives, or if it is sanctuaries, you have to take care and manage of the different animals which are present in that sanctuaries or national parks, being a zoologist. Okay. So beside that, again, there are different conservation organizations. In order to conserve the endangered species of animals. Now, similar case is also there is a conservation of plants and animals. We talk both together. Generally, the Botanical Survey of India and Zoological Survey of India, they are giving these opportunities to work as a conservationist or to conserve the endangered species of organisms, maybe plants or maybe animals. So there are these kinds of the conservation organization institutes are there where you can go there and act as a conservation biologist. Or not only that, there is the paramedical sciences. So many are there. This is just example which I would like to elaborate here. I would like to tell you that the zoologists are given a chance to serve in government sectors. Now, museum archives, they are under control of the government. Now, some of the private NGO, private sectors or NGOs, they have their museums and the other laboratories also. Okay, they are also offering jobs to the zoologists. Now, industry. Now, if we talk about industries, now where the zoology is directly related, directly concerned with the industry. For example, there are some small scale industries that are established in our country. Now, for example, how these small scale industries are directly linked with the zoologists. For example, if you are a zoologist and that too again entomologist, okay, I'm directly coming with the application of that being a zoologist, directly related to the apiculture, sericulture, and poultry, and fisheries and lag culture industry. Nowadays, these industries are including small scale industries. Because if you want to set up these industries, the government of India, they are giving you some financial help, financial assistance to set up these industries like apiculture, sericulture, and lag culture units. Okay, this comes under the industrial. If you want to set up your own industry, you can set up by utilizing the financial grant given by the government of India and other agencies. Okay, you can run. Because nowadays this apiculture, sericulture, you are well aware of this. What sort of the product which we are getting from them. For example, apiculture, sericulture, and lag culture. These are the lucrative industries nowadays. Because we know very well apiculture what it provides, sericulture what it provides, lag culture what it gives us. There is an important byproduct which we are looking for. For example, the small lag insect It is neglected in different parts. Okay. But now in our India, we have different states where there is a rich cover of the forest. There we can maintain this lac culture. Or if suppose we don't have support forest culture, artificially, or we can enhance the production of the lac culture by cultivation. Okay, by lac culture management practices. If you implement these practices, you will get a lot of you can generate employment to the unemployed persons. And also you can earn a lot through the lac culture industry. Because this lac culture is a small, tiny insect which provide you product. Okay, this is the forest-based industry. Nowadays, there is a ministry under MSME, there is a Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So that commission is providing the financial assistance for those who are involved in maintaining this culture. For example, lac culture. In order to maintain and taking care of the lac insects, and also we are looking for the product. So the government of India is giving grant to have these kinds of small scale industries to set up in our area. Okay, so that you can get money through the byproduct which we can export and you can sell into market, and this is going to help you to solve the problem of unemployment and provide employment to the needy people. Now through this we can get some more amount, or you can get income, and you can generate and give the opportunity to serve the zoologists in that area. Similarly, there is apiculture, sericulture. These two industries also providing the byproduct. For example, apiculture, this is very well known fact. The honey, wax, and royal jelly. So this is now very important products which we are getting from the honeybee. Similarly, sericulture. Nowadays it is important for, sericulture is what known for the product which we are looking for. That is the silk. Is obtained from the different varieties of the silk moth. Okay, there are different varieties of the silks being prepared or being manufactured in the country depending upon which type of silkworm which you can rear in your area. Okay, nowadays we are well familiar with the Muga, Eri, and Tussar silk. Okay, now the government of Maharashtra, government of India, again encouraging the people. For example, instead of going to these industries, you can set up your own industry and you can run the business. You can set up your industry and generate the opportunity of employment. And not only yourself, but also you can, provide the opportunity to the zoologists or unemployed persons through this sericulture industry. There is a poultry, livestock, fisheries. These are also equally important, like apiculture, sericulture. There is a poultry, maintenance of the poultry, for the benefit of the society, livestock, fisheries. These are also, small scale industries which are also providing opportunities for the zoologists to work there or to undertake these kinds of industrial, activities, and that helps definitely. That will help to sustain for the sustainable development, not only for the development, also to uplift the social status of the society. Now, this is again what sort of industry, because what is your role? Your role is being the zoologist. We are looking for the product which you are getting from that, for the exporting, getting money. But also you'll have to take care of that, because these processes or these small scale industries, you'll have to pay your attention. You'll have to manage, that means care and management. Okay, utmost care is to be taken so that you can maintain all these industries on a large scale and with a healthy status of insects, and also you can get important products from them by taking care, utmost care. For example, see, many times if you are looking for the apiculture, sericulture, and lac culture, simultaneously these people, those who are concerned people, they are facing the problems. For example, there are various threats coming from environment, threats coming from the abiotic factors, biotic factors. You can understand. So what sort of these threats? For example, diseases. Nowadays, in apiculturist, the person who is looking for, they are suffering, or they are experiencing the different threats to the colony, or honeybee colony, for example, honeybee colony. If suppose a healthy colony is growing, and sometimes in between what they find that they notice that there is an infection due to different microorganisms, or not only microorganisms, but also there are some other protozoan parasites, and total, that means the microorganisms, other parasites, they are disturbing the social health as well as the health of the honeybees, health of the other insects. So the care has to be taken that we'll have to keep a check that how we can keep these colonies disease free. We don't want the contamination to go on. We don't want these colonies to be contaminated. Okay, or we'll have to prevent the infection, prevent the diseases. Okay, so that you can see not only preventing the diseases, but you have to maintain the mass rearing. Okay, or the rearing of these insects on a large scale, and in order to generate the good products from them or raw products from them, you'll have to take care, utmost care. That is, care and management is very, very essential. Who will take care and management? Those who are aware of the zoologists, those who are aware of the rearing technology, okay, of all these industries. He can definitely take care, intensive care, and will help to maintain these kinds of industries for the benefit of the societies. Okay. Now moving to the next, I'll go to very quickly the private sectors. There are television channels, private sectors, where the zoologists are offered jobs. There are television channels, veterinary hospitals, environmental journalism, and many things are there. Just I would like to elaborate here. Now see, as I mentioned earlier, the biomedical research. So this is very important field. Okay. Now generally, in what capacity you can join biomedical research of different institutes? For example, ICAR, and many. Okay. For example, you will be given a chance to serve as a starting from a research officer or a junior scientist, starting from, there are level of the scientist, B, C, D, E, and that goes up to G. That means as per your promotion, that scientist promotion, or you will be given a promotion. So that goes on the time-bound promotion. So that is going to happen. So you can join in the capacity of the scientist in a specialized area. For example, if you have specialties, okay, expertise in the field of zoology. For example, be it a cytology, be it a developmental biology, or be it a molecular biology, or genetic engineering, or genetics, or immunology, or drug discovery, or maybe in the field of toxicology or endocrinology. Okay, all these are the different fields where the scientists, you can explore these fields, and you can look for these biomedical research activities, and you can give insights, and you can give your inputs in the fields, and so that is going to help you the society. For example, in the drug discovery or in toxicological study, what is the role of a scientist? For example, if you take a drug discovery, now the scientists are always looking to have new innovative things, including, for example, innovative things. If you talk about the medical field, we are the scientists which are always looking to have a new drug. Now, where from we will get that new drug? Because we are always looking for the sources. What are the sources? We have rich biodiversity. Okay, the biota, which we can explore. The biota, maybe organisms, maybe plants, or maybe microorganisms, maybe even smaller animals, or protozoans, or some poriferan animals, lower animals, invertebrates, vertebrates, the plants, medicinal plants. These are all sources. So these sources needs to be what we have to do with that. So what if suppose if you are expert in particular a biota, or identifying a particular source, for example, plants. If you are expert in the plants, you can go for the drug discovery from the different medicinal plants. If you are expert in what different animal, the composition, for example, small animals. See, for example, their body. There is one example I would like to quote here. There are some poriferans, some sponges are known for the good composition of anti-cancer drugs or anti-malarial drugs, which are extracted from the body of poriferans. Okay, this being invertebrate animals or lower animals. We are always looking for different biota or biological sources or entire biodiversity. No, because we need to maintain, we need to conserve, we need to maintain entire biodiversity, and we'll have to conserve the biodiversity for the benefit of the society, because one of the important ecological services which we are getting from the biodiversity, okay, that could be related to the drug discovery, because the source is important. Where from we can get these kinds of the drugs, the sources are important. Okay, just now I quoted the example of the poriferans, sponges, okay, or not only sponges but also some other insects or other animals are rich source of different kinds of chemicals, different kinds of the compounds, like medicinally important plants. We are aware of the different medicinal plants which are nowadays utilized by researchers, okay, to look for the immediate drug for suggesting remedy of any microbial disease, or maybe viral, or maybe any kind of diseases. Now, this is the competition is going on. One who will take care of that and one who will lead. Okay, definitely we will come forward with new discovery, new innovative things through the drug discovery. So this is what ultimate challenge. So this challenge can be accepted, could be accepted, or one has to look up to that, or one has to see, one has to think about that, what sort of innovative thing, innovative material which I would like to contribute to the society. So this what always comes from the biomedical research. Now when it will come, then you join as a scientist and you can definitely give to the society. Similar thing may be applicable for the toxicology, or maybe in molecular biology, or in genetic engineering. Now these are very frontline courses, frontline areas like genetic engineering or molecular biology or immunology. Okay, so we'll go very quickly. These are the general things you can you are aware of this. What sort of the researches are going on, and what sort of the new innovative things which we can look for from these fields. Okay. Now, beside that, there are generally scientific writing. For example, suppose if you are not expert in doing some experiments on particular field or drug discovery or some toxicology like that, at least you can have that skill. You can utilize your skill of writing research papers, or writing reviews, or writing books, or writing some encyclopedia or some scientific documents. That is also provide the good sort of the opportunity to be a scientific writer. Okay. Now, generally, again, the zookeeper, as I mentioned earlier, zookeeper, zoo curator for the management of zoos, aquariums, and animal behavior, breeding of animals. So these kinds of the jobs are given to the zoologists. National parks, sanctuaries. We have many national parks and sanctuaries, wildlife, educators. Your role would be just as an educator to create education, literature like brochures, videos, guided tours, and you have to exhibits. This is for the society. That means this sort of the job is given to the zoologists. Now, besides that, there are many biological laboratories, scientific laboratories. Okay. So, what sort of the recruitment? Generally, so government of India, like ICMR, ICAR, and the other institutions, they have their own laboratories. Okay. Set up in, for example, if you take example of pollution control laboratory. Okay. Or not only the toxicology laboratory, or food testing, or toxicology, or any other kind of the laboratories established by the NGOs or established by the government of India or the state government. Okay, where they are looking for the project assistant, or in other capacity, maybe in the capacity of handling these kinds of the animal models. For example, mass production of animal models for carrying out different diseases, including, for example, you should understand if you are having skill of handling the different kinds of animal models, like mosquitoes, drosophila, frogs, and mice, etc., etc. That is going to help you to be as a project assistant. And also, your role could be to help to the experimental setup, and also you can study these animals in the captivity. Okay, this museums, archives, this is also equally important. That also provides and promotes awareness of the local heritage through the exhibits, programs, and collections. Okay, and also zoologists that can prepare guided tours, brief descriptions, brochures, and other, of preserved animals and the animals which are present in wildlife. So that zoologist can prepare and the guided tours, and he can help you in the capacity of a curator or the manager, etc. Okay. Beside that, there are the conservation of organizations. There is the strategy of the conservation is going on. We talk about the conservation. Okay. Now, for example, what sort of the conservation? Who is doing this conservation work? Of course, there are some government institutions or government institutes. For example, in case of animal conservation, there is a Zoological Survey of India. This is what very important institute, having headquarters at Kolkata, and there are regional centers spread across the countries, the south, north, eastern, western zone. And we are aware of this western zone, that is in Pune, Zoological Survey of India. So this institute is helping zoologists, not only helping, but also they are recruiting or offering jobs to zoologists. Okay. Beside that, there are sanctuaries and these kinds of the role. What sort of the role? That is the conservation is very, very important. Now, other factors, there are other factors which are going to help you from the conservation point of view. Once you are aware of these kinds of the conservation strategy and what are the factors, what are the skills and what sort of the precautions and procedure to be adopted for the conservation. Because the conservation mode is very important. So these organizations are looking for the conservation of what? Endangered species, or the species of the animals, species of insects, species of the birds, okay, which are undergoing endangered, or which are, for example, become rare, endangered. There is a list of the different kinds of the species of animals and the plants or insects. They have prepared with the red data book and the green data. Okay, so these kinds of the things, in order to conserve these kinds of the species, the role played by these organizations is very, very important. And if you are aware, if you are having expertise, if you are good enough in handling these kinds of animals, definitely chance is given to serve as an expert in the Zoological Survey of India. Definitely the chance is given to you as a scientist or as a different capacity to look after the organization. Okay, besides that, now next thing, the paramedical science. Zoologists, suppose after doing zoology, there is a job, generally paramedical sciences, lab technicians, PG, DVLT. These are the things which are available to a postgraduate diploma in medical laboratory technology. So the small things, generally they are offering opportunities to the jobs. Now, pest control companies. There are many pest control companies are opened by NGOs, by government, and they are looking for the person, looking for the zoologists, looking for the person, those who have the knowledge of handling these insects or different pests, okay, in pest control company, okay. Because these companies are always looking to provide a solution for the control of the pest, for the protection of the crops, when it is agriculture crops, or the protection of the crops, whether it is in horticulture or whether it is in the medical field, okay. Now, what type of role he or she has to play when they accept as an assistant or as a scientist or given capacity person. For example, suppose he is a pest control manager or pest control scientist. What he has to do or what she has to do, because they are well aware of this kinds of handling the pest. Because they know very well that how the pest is going, which stage of the pest, for example, if you talk about insect pest, which stage is important, which stage is not harmful, which stage is harmful. The person, zoologist or entomologist, can understand very well. Okay, so having identified the particular stage of the pest, they know that what sort of the action is to be taken and which stage is to be targeted. For example, in order to control the pest population at larval level, okay, or in order to control the pest when it is at egg level, okay, or not only egg or larva, sometimes insects are at pupa level, okay. So the person who is handling, he or she can understand very well that how to take care of that particular stage, for example, larval stage doing most of the damage, and how that larval stage of the pest is to be controlled, okay, by appropriate means, by appropriate measures, whether it is a biological control will work on that, or there is a chance of chemical control, or use of insecticides or the pesticides would be better, or biological control would be better. He or she has to decide, okay, upon doing or upon conducting some trials on that. Then and only then he will come to know that which method is going to be effective against the particular insect pest. So that will what he understood, okay, from that. And again, not only to that, but of course they are looking for always, they are looking for to control the pest population, or just to keep the population of the pest under control or below economic injury level. This is who can understand? A zoologist, an entomologist can understand that how the pest population of agriculture crops or maybe any other crops, okay, how this pest population to be kept under control. Scientifically, which we always talk to our students, researchers, that we don't want to wipe out completely the pest population from the nature, because they are the part of the ecosystem. They are part of the food chain, right? So one has to take care of that, how these kinds of the pests, because they are insects, they are the part of the food chain. They must grow. They have the right to grow there. So without wiping out their population, how we take appropriate cares, appropriate measures to look after that problem. Okay, as and when that problem arises. Okay, we have to, as and when the methodology or remedies are required to do so. For example, we are always, the moment we notice the pest population, the moment we notice the pest dominance in agriculture crops or in a particular area, for example, red cotton bug or Helicobacter pyrgera or any other pest doing damage in agriculture crops, what we are supposed to do? The moment we notice the dominance of that crop pest, always we think for immediate remedy, immediate solution for control of that pest. Okay, we always think that the priority that comes in our mind that we have to control that by using chemical means. Okay, we always straight away think that there are some insecticides that will work. Okay, no doubt, some insecticides, that chemical pesticide that will work, but at what cost? Okay, that has some side effects. Now, these side effects also to be taken into account. Okay, because this side effects to the environment, side effects to the human beings needs to be taken into account. Who will take into account? Because being an entomologist, being a person concerned, being a zoologist, he will think rationally, he will think positively that. So due to continuous use of one thing, one method, due to that the problem is not going to solve. One has to go for alternative method, safe method. So definitely he will think that there is a method called as biocontrol. Okay, he will appropriately practice. Okay, there are different methods of the pest control by integrated way, integrated pest management. There are different methods. Now, which method is going to be suitable, which method is going to be scientific, and which method is going to be eco-friendly. So accordingly, the care is to be taken, or accordingly, the method is what suggested to take care of the pests. Okay. Now, while doing that, they always suggest that, because see, they are, they have that kind of the knowledge. They always keep on suggesting to the farmers or to the person concerned that which method is to be adopted for the protection of the crops or protection of the other different types of crops from the pests. Okay. Now, in order to have innovative things, for example, zoologist always what he thinks for testing new compounds for effective control of pests below threshold level. This is very important thing. Now, generally, suppose any compound is given to him or her, what he always try to does that how that compound is going to be effective. He always try to test that compound against the pest, and what he always not only test that compound, but also he always look for how it is effective at what level. Okay, the level, for example, the pest population is completely wiping out from the environment, or it is going to be effective, 50% effective or 60% effective. So these kinds of the records or observations to be noted, and he thinks rationally that whether this is going to help you for the control of pests and keeping the pest population below threshold level, whether it works or not. Who is going to decide? This is what decided by a zoologist. Well-trained entomologist can decide. Okay, so these kinds of the pest control company, they are providing job opportunity to a person concerned who are who was having the expertise in handling the pest. Okay. Now, beside that, there are television channels. There are nowadays many television channels are open. For example, one of the best channels we can see operated by private channel operators, and we can always go for such kinds of channels. For example, Discovery or National Geographic networks. Now, what sort of the jobs or what sort of the opportunities are given to work on these kinds of the television channels? For example, Discovery of our National Geographic networks. Now, suppose you are expert in particular, handling the particular animals or wild animals or some other animals, insects, etc. You can prepare documentaries on wild animals. You can prepare documentaries on economically important insect pests, economically important or medicinal plants or some other animals which are really important, and you can show or you can disseminate these kinds of the knowledge to the people through television channels. Okay, so there you can that means chance is given to as an editor of that and making such documentaries on different animal models, different wild animals or insect models, or there are many animal models. Generally, the television channels are giving opportunities for the zoologists. Now, veterinary hospitals, this is all very important. Those who are, this is specially applicable for the zoologists and especially the veterinary entomologists. Okay. For example, what we are supposed to do, what veterinary entomologists are supposed to do there, because being expert in the veterinary, they try to understand the problem to the livestock, problem to dairy animals, or problem to other pets or other animals, and they are looking for always there what sort of the problems, what sort of the threats they have. For example, biological threats in terms of diseases. Diseases of pets, diseases of dairy animals, diseases of livestock, and there are many cattle. Okay. So this is, that means who is going to take care? A person concerned, the veterinary, he can take care of that. Now, what is the role of entomologist, for example? So he can understand the insect pests or the arthropod pests, which are major threats for the veterinary. Okay. Maybe dairy animals or maybe livestock or the other pets. Accordingly, the role of yours about being an entomologist or being a veterinary scientist, you have to identify the problem and what you have to help treating these kinds of animals, and what you have to provide some sort of assistance to keep these livestock, dairy animals or the pets healthy. These kinds of the opportunities given in veterinary hospitals. Now, there is environmental journalism. Now, reporting to the environmental issues. Okay. Now, what role he or she has to play there? Being environmental journalism. Now, journalism, nowadays, so the people are, getting their degrees to different universities as a Master of Journalism or, Bachelor of Journalism. But especially this is dealing with environmental journalism. The journalist who is always taking care or taking interest in the environmental issues, reporting the environmental issues or understanding the environmental issues and reporting appropriately to the person concerned or to the policymakers. Okay. Now, what is his role? His role is important in that just to understand the problem, reporting the environmental issues related to animals, because this is very important for the zoologist. See, the animal related, that means what sort of the environmental conditions, whether it is a habit or a habitat or any environmental issues related to animals. Loss of biodiversity, toxic effects of pollution on animal health. That means all environmental related problems needs to be identified, and once they are identified by them, there is a reporting. That means that is to be reported properly. That must reach to the policymakers. That must reach to the scientists. That must reach to the government agencies, so that the government agencies, the scientists can suggest to the policymakers that such and such efforts needs to be taken or care to be taken, so that you can maintain the animal health, or you can maintain the biodiversity and other environmental issues. Okay, so these are some of, in short, what sort of the opportunities. Okay, being a zoologist, what sort of the opportunities which we can grab after having the knowledge of zoology in different fields. Ramnath, okay? Hello,
yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can continue, sir. No problem.
Okay, right. Okay. Now, after having studied, after having spoken about the job opportunities and the role of a zoologist, now I would like to specifically, we'll have to, elaborate. I will specifically what I would like to elaborate, just to have interaction with people about the job availabilities and what are the typical employers. Okay. Now, this also I have taken care of that. But also what we will have, so for example, some of the more slides we speaks about, for example, zoos, wildlife parks, environmental protection agencies are also there, government agencies and research institutes, medical research establishments and the national health services, environmental and animal charities. Beside that, there are the school, colleges, science centers, libraries and museums, universities and research institutes, environmental consultancies, chemical, pharmaceuticals and petroleum companies, aquaculture and animal nutrition companies. Now, these are some of the typical employers. So these typical employers which are providing employment or which are providing opportunities to zoologists, okay, to be, to what, suppose you are expertise. If you would like to go for aquaculture, you can join aquaculture. Or if you are a good pharmaceutical, if you are good in having expertise in the pharmaceutical industry, you can join that pharmaceutical industry. Okay. Or if you want to go for only dissemination of the knowledge or for the doing research and imparting the knowledge, you can join universities, schools and colleges, okay, and research institutes. Okay, beside that, there are some other government organizations, government agencies. They have established their research institutions or research centers across the world. If you take up the ICMR, because ICMR is the only institution or the government institution, they have their different centers. They have established their regional centers across the country. And if suppose you can find that if you are suitable with your expertise, definitely the chance will be given to you to serve as a scientist, to serve as researchers in that, for example, National Health Services or environmental agencies or any other charities. Okay. So this is all we'll talk about the typical employers. So these are providing employments. Okay. Now this I will talk a little later. Now before I go first, I would like to show you this slide. Some research institutes. Now I was talking about the research institutes. Okay. Now where generally the chance is given or where there are plenty of scope for the zoologists to join that research in different capacities. For example, as I talk about the ZSI, Zoological Survey of India, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, okay, National Center for Biological Science Center, IISc Bangalore, TIFR Mumbai, BIRC Mumbai, IISR, ISER, NCCS Pune, NCL. All these kinds of research institutes are established in our country and they are providing the opportunities. Okay, through recruitment or through their advertisement, they always look for the good researchers, the zoologists, those who are having expertise in a particular area. Okay, for example, we have NCCS, one of the best center established by the government of India under the Department of Biotechnology, National Center for Cell Science. Now, this is one of the best institution, which is located in our campus. Now, fortunately, it's very nearby us, and you can join that institute as a what? Now, many times question arises that how to join that NCCS, because many times they are coming with the advertisement, recruitment calls. You have to respond to that call, to that advertisement, and if you are having expertise to join as a scientist, for example, if you are a good toxicologist, or if you are a cancer biologist, or if you are a cell biologist, or if you are a immunologist, you may join that institute in the capacity of as a junior scientist, senior scientist. Of course, you can be promoted, by what through your promotion. You will be given a chance of a promotion for moving a higher scale. Okay, this is one of the best institutions, NCCS, National Center for Cell Science. Okay, besides that, there is one more, the CSIR laboratory, NCL, that is also providing some opportunities to join. Now, what is the relation of NCL? When you talk of National Chemical Laboratory, now how a zoologist can join NCL? How a biologist can join in NCL? Because if you are expertise in particular area, for example, what are the laboratories? Now we'll have to identify what laboratories are there related to zoology, related to biology. Okay, there is a department called a separate bioscience of the biochemistry department. If you are expert with the handling the biochemical aspects or some enzyme technology or some biological relationship, an enzyme relationship or related to biochemistry, definitely chance is given to you to serve as a biochemistry scientist. But more appropriately, more related, closely related laboratory of the zoology, that there is an entomology research laboratory. There is an entomology lab in NCL of the CSIR. There is an entomology laboratory there. I think there are, earlier there were 4 persons, that means 4, the scientists were recruited. Nowadays, these all 4 scientists are retired. And the NCL is looking for the recruitment of new scientists, recruitment of new people, those who are having knowledge or expertise of entomology. Because the entomology person who are looking for that, they are retired now. And they are looking for a new entomologist. Okay, to get opportunity. Now, we say that hello. Okay, Ramnath, I am audible?
Yes, sir, you can audible.
I can go very quickly. I think these are, so there are, other than the NCL, there is a Ross Life Science, Private Diagnostic Laboratories, CSIR Institute of Genomics and Integrated Biology, ICIB Delhi, ICMR, this I already spoken about ICMR, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, JNCCAR, that is in Bangalore, National Institute of Virology, that is in Pune. And beside that, is there any other institute? In foreign countries, for example, see, there is suppose we would like to join this institute, that is which I am referring here, Max Planck Research Institute. There is a chemical ecology that is in Germany. So this is one of the best, the chemical ecology laboratory, where the quality research are conducted. The quality research in the chemical ecology is going on there in Germany. If you happen, or if you would like to join that, please visit the website of the Max Planck Research Institute, and if suppose by acquiring the appropriate qualification, definitely try to join this Max Planck Research Institute, where you can explore more about the chemical ecology, or what sort of the chemical composition present. For example, what sort of the chemical ecology talks about. For example, you are going to study the chemical composition of animal body, or chemical composition of the plant body, or what sort of the chemical interaction is going on. For example, if you want to work on insect and plants relationship, there is insects are always depends upon the plants, and they have established their relationship long back, long before the dawn of civilization. Insects and the plants, they have that sort of relation. And what sort of the chemical talk, what sort of the coordination, so that we can study, what sort of the chemical interaction is going on between plant and insect, and what sort of the chemical language they have. Do they talk to each other? Okay, do they have that sort of the communication? So this is to be explored by studying the chemical ecology, or by studying the chemical mechanism or chemical, what sort of the interactions. So the chance is given to new people. Definitely, if you have a chance or you are willing to join, definitely plan for that. This is for, I would like to suggest for this PG students, postgraduate students, and also some research scholars who would like to do postdoc, definitely join to the Max Planck Research Institutes of Chemical Ecology Institute in Germany. Beside that, there is well-known NIH, National Institute of Health. This is what Maryland in USA. This is also one of the leading, one of the best national institute dealing with the health studies of health problems, or dealing with the diseases, or related to all kinds of the diseases. This is one of the best institutes. Then again, there are different kinds of the MITs. That is also USA. These are foreign institutes. Okay. Now, what are the government bodies other than the other things? Scientist recruitment is generally done. Generally, there is a DBT, Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, and in government that is run under Government of India. And Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. Again, this is controlled by the Government of India. So what they are doing? So these institutions are like DBT, DST, and the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. They are offering jobs to the person concerned, to the zoologist, to serve as a scientist and to serve in different capacities. Maybe regional director, or maybe deputy director, or maybe you can be promoted to the director level, or maybe through scientists you can promote. That means these are the government bodies are providing opportunities to work in different capacities. Ministry of Health, Ministry of Other Sciences, there are many industries, many institutions which are helping. Now these are some of the, I would like to go very quickly now. These are ICM institutes. Now see, just have a quick look. We'll go very quickly now. ICMR institutes distributed across the country. That is, some institute like Agra, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Bhopal, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Madurai, Mumbai, Noida, Patna, Pondicherry, Pune, and ICMR regional medical research centers. Now, because our zoology or entomology is more related with the ICMR regional medical research centers. For example, you see regional medical center in Bhubaneswar, regional medical research center in Dibrugarh, regional medical research center in Port Blair, regional medical research center in Jabalpur. There is a desert medicine research center in Jodhpur, regional medical research center in Belgaum. All these kinds of the medical research centers. That means, suppose you are recently there was just 1 month before there was advertisement for the the medical entomologists or the researchers in medical entomology. See, ICMR, they have put recently through the advertisement. I don't know whether the date of that is there or that date is lapsed. Just please check the website of this. Okay. And besides that, these are some of the things, other institutes which also related and taking care of the person concerned with the person having the expertise of this zoologist. Okay. Beside that, then ICMR units also established in different places like cities. Food and Drug Toxicology Research Center, Hyderabad, National Center for Laboratory Science, Hyderabad, ICMR Virus Unit, Kolkata, Genetic Research Center, Mumbai, and Microbial Containment Complex, Pune. Okay, all these are the support. Okay, so that's all. This is about the general things. The first part which I completed about the job opportunities and the centers or the institutions, what sort of the job is given opportunities for the. Now I would like to move to the second part. It's okay, Ramnath? Second part.
Yes, it's okay.
Huh.
And we have allotted time is 1:30.
Okay.
1:10.
Okay, I will complete. I will try to complete it. I would like to give now the second part about what sort of the research activities going on in our laboratory. I will try to elaborate. Okay, in short. Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
to start with the entomology, because see, directly after having talk about the zoology, now we'll have to talk about the specialized entomology. For example, now see what sort of the research was done in our laboratory. Now we have done research on different animal models. You can see in the slide here, we have different biocontrolling agents, and also we have pests. Now you can see in the picture, there is a pest, Helicoverpa armigera, the larval stage, adult stage, and one parasitoid. So this is what we have started in the beginning. The biological control of different pests by using appropriate predator, the parasitoids. Now this is what work which I would like to highlight here. Now we have work on that. Now how these kinds of the parasitoids, they take care of the pests. Okay, this is what we have worked in the beginning. Now this is what we have studied the large scale, that how these parasitoids are taking care of the pest. That means how these kinds of the parasitoids are useful for the control of different pests by biological means. So these are the things what we have studied. Now see how after parasitization, biological control, where because see the research student can understand, the PG student even can understand what is difference between chemical control and biological control, and which method is going to be effective. Either we will go for the chemical control or biological control. Okay. Now, if you go for the chemical control, we know that we have discussed about the side effects, okay, or other problems. But if you talk about the safe, economically important, or eco-friendly control of method, that is biocontrol. How it works? Because see, this is we have taken picture that how a parasitoid work and how it is going to kill the pest. So after what happened after attacking the larva, what would be the status of the larval body? Now this is what we have studied histology. That clearly tells about that the histological, that means the cellular structure, cellular compartment of the body while it is being altered or being disturbed due to the attack of the parasite, and gradually leading to the death of the larva or death of the pest. This is what we have shown in the what. See, because we have taken parasitized and parasite larva, this is what we have observed in second slide, that how the larva is being parasitized or being killed by the parasite. This is what the observation we got it. The same thing which we have shown here, how this is parasitized and parasite larva. So what sort of the development period, comparison, we have compared the what sort of the parasitized and parasitized, these kinds of the things that shows, and how these kinds of the, we see the parasitized and parasitized comparison. Now, again, this slide I would like to show you here, what sort of the research activities are going on in our laboratory. We are working on stress response and adaptation in animals, animal biodiversity and conservation, animal microbe interaction and sustainable development. Okay, recently what we have seen, as far as the stress response is concerned, we are studying on the stress response on the different animals, the effect of the biotic and abiotic, or the biochemical, physiological and molecular responses in various animals model. As far as the stress is concerned, that I will show you in my slide. Also, we are looking for the animal biodiversity conservation. Now, this I see recently we have got some 2 papers which I have published, and I think that we claim that this is what the one of the report, the first report which we have reported so far from our laboratory, that we have discovered new species. That is the innovation of the new species of the frog. So we have discovered this through this taxonomy of biodiversity of amphibia by using integrated taxonomy approach, or especially molecular phylogeny, and by using other the taxonomical the methods. So we have discovered new species of the frog from the Western Ghat, and that is unique and new discovery. Because if you want to go about this, if you want to know detail about that, you please read the journal Zoo Taxa. So there we have published that, and that paper is available. So this is what the new discovery that comes from our department. Now this is the first discovery in the history of our department. I would like to say that very proudly that we have discovered the new species of the frog, and that is published in the history of the department, the first new report, first new record, innovative research that we have done so far in the field of amphibian taxonomy. by the way of integrated taxonomy approach. And that the frog new species which we have discovered, given the name after the language which is spoken in Maharashtra, for which we are very proud of that. The language name is given Marathi. That means the species name is given to the frog. The genus name, of course, that was Phaegervaria, and the species given to the name that is as a Marathi. Phaegervaria Marathi. This is the name which we have given. This is what our innovative work, which is published internationally, accepted by scientific community. And this is what the innovative work, not only this work, but also we have simultaneously one more paper which are published on the amphibian taxonomy that we have identified recently, and we have given the genetic identity to new frog from the different genus, that is the Sahyadrensis, the Minervaria Sahyadrensis, the name which is given. That is also one of the unique discovery, giving genetic identity to the new clade of the frog, that is Minervaria species. This is also one of the innovative work which I would like to share to my students, PhD students and other researchers. Now, besides that, what sort of other work is doing here? We are also doing some work, the animal microbe interaction for the sustainable development. What is the purpose of this work? We always look for the lignocellulose biomass or biodegradation potential of gut microflora from various animal models. Now, this also we have proved that how we can make use of these animal models as a source of gut flora, and these microbes of gut flora is utilized for the degradation of the lignocellulose biomass as well as degradation of chitin. Okay, and not only degradation of the chitin, but we are also looking for the use of these kinds of the bacteria for the biological control. For example, insects are mostly made up of chitin. So that chitin is to be degraded, right, for the application. That means this is extrapolated, or this is what applications of these kinds of the degradation potential activity in terms of biological control. Because if you talk about the general about insects, they are made up of chitin. Now, how we can break down the chitin of that insect and what we can achieve a target of controlling the pest population. Okay, that's why we are looking for different animal models for different gut flora, microflora, especially different microbes or isolates. And this is also what we have done so far, very good work. And we have reported for the first time the work which I would like to show you here, the work which are done on the Helicoverpa misera. We have reported by bacterial isolates, and that is also one of the first and unique report published from our department, that we have isolated this bacteria from the gut of insect, and these bacteria or isolates are utilized for the valorization of the potential valorization of the some substrates like lignocellulose biomass and chitin and other things. Okay. Now, in short, I would like to show you that stress biology, biodegradation, and the diversity study. Now, these are some of the things which we are working. Now, we are working on plant-based essential oils also. We have also utilized some phthalates, plasticizer as a stress markers, and also some of the silver nanoparticles also we have tried. Because due to time constraint, I don't have time to explain about this. I will go very quickly. So what sort of the biodegradation activities are going on? Various animal models which we are used for the screening of the gut microflora, production of enzymes such as cellulase, chitinase, esterase, etc. So these are, we have proved that we have synthesized cellulase, chitinase, and esterase also, and the related research is also published in some of the journals, important reputed journals, which I would like to show you now after this slide. So we are looking for different enzymes, for example, esterases, cellulases, chitinases, and their characterization by different techniques. And also we are looking for how these kinds of the biodegradation potential can be utilized, and what sort of techniques which we can study the biodegradation potential of these kinds of things by SEM, HPLC, LC, FPR, XRD technology for the lignocellulose waste or chitin waste or plastic one. We are also looking for plastic waste also to be taken care of, then how we can degrade that. And not only that, besides that also we are also contributing little on about the diversity. Now we have studied so far. One of my students, Dr. Ramnath, now he is a faculty of your department. Now he has taken extensive survey of wild bee diversity. He has studied extensively the wild bees which are available from the Pune ecosystem. Urban area and the agroclimatic area, urban area and rural area. He has studied, he has published, he has studied his work on the study of wild bee diversity. Similarly, we are also looking, this also I have already explained, the molecular phylogeny of amphibian for the cryptic species. Nowadays, there are many cryptic species which are what we can notice. There is a complex which we see in species. the species that form species complex. Methodology are going to help you. This particular phylogeny of amphibians that is going to help you to solve the problem of cryptic species or complex of the species. From that point of view, also we have studied so far. Now, this is first area biodiversity. This I would like to show you. This is study areas we have stored. Now, I will quickly show the glimpses of that. Now, this little while ago, I was talking about the agroclimatic conditions of the wild bees and their habitat. Where from that we have studied that these wild bees to be collected and studied. Now, these are the document we have done documentation on the diversity of the bees. We have reported, we have studied that the distribution, diversity, and we also analyze appropriately by using appropriate statistical techniques. And also we have noted that the urban bees and rural bees, what sort of the rural bees which we see, what is the percentage of these bees which we can noted, which we have noted from urban and rural sites. So these are some of the bees that we have studied so far from the Xylocopedidae and the C. Also, we have studied that these kinds of, the environmental factors, abiotic factors, how they show their influence in the distribution also. Okay. Now, this is the important thing about, I was talking about the effect of plasticizers. Now, this is very important, the work which we have done in our laboratory, and this is published. So, this is the effect of diethyl phthalate induced stress and antioxidant enzyme and acetylcholinesterase in aquatic insects. Now, the animal model which I use here, the Paranomus. So, we have studied this with reference to Paranomus, and we have published the details of this Paranomus. That means the enzymes, what sort of the effect of exposure of this plasticizer, that is for diethyl phthalate, how it acts as antioxidant enzyme and acetylcholinesterase on aquatic insects. If suppose they passes under stress, how that stress is managed and what sort of the enzymes that come into play. So this is the detail of that, the effect of these kinds of the antioxidant enzymes. The whole story, whole summary is available in this paper. Now see, we have recently published that sort of the study, that is biochemical and molecular changes mediated by plasticizer, that is diethyl phthalate in Chironomus circumdatus bloodworm. So this is also one of the report that what the detail about the stress biology is available in this paper. Please refer this paper. Now this thing, same thing we have studied. We have studied the different enzymes which are responsible. When suppose animals are in stress, what happened to the lipid peroxidase? How that is care to be taken by superoxide dismutase activity. Okay, so this is control data we have taken, not only one, but also we have studied the catalase activity, glutathione. What happened to the glutathione? Because it is reduced. If you see as per the control, level of the glutathione, it is reduced in treated. So level of the catalase increase, level of SOD. Okay, so this is what, as usual, the normal what the enzyme activity or antioxidant enzymes we have studied so far. And this is what, again, one more thing about the journal of which I spoke earlier. The parasite, that means biological control of Helicobacter by using the parasite, also published in the journal of SF Acidic Entomology. Please go through that. So this is also paper. Now recently we have published the bioprospection and applications of chitin-lytic bacteria for valorization of pest chitin. Now this is one of the review which is recently published in our archives of microbiology. So what we are doing, we are always looking for the animal gut. We are looking for the isolates to be isolated from the animal body. Now this particular paper, we have separated or isolated bacteria and how this bacteria has a potential of degradation of waste chitin. So that is published in this paper. Now again, not only that, but we also work on the essential oils. Our focus would be what was that, just to understand the essential oils interaction against the not only Helicobacter but also some household insect pests. For example, Musca domestica, this we have studied at enzymatic level. So these different kinds of essential oils we are used, like bay, tree, and lemongrass, the oils which we are used, essential oils, and we have studied the stress. We have measured these kinds of the enzymes or antioxidant enzymes, and we have noted how these kinds of the enzymes or how these kinds of the SODs and all these essential oils will play important role in the control of the host life. Okay, so detail of that, I just know that the conclusion that how this essential oil induces the oxidative stress in Musca domestica. When the oxidative stress is induced, what will happen to that? Because we are always looking for the pest control. So from the control point of view, what we have tried, essential oils, they act as they induces the stress and that leads to the death of that pest. So this is about the nanoparticles also we have tried. So I would like to speak this now. The international scenario. Now again, I would like to quote here. There is as I was talking that the partial indoor residue spraying with the primophos methyl as effective and cost-saving measures for the control of Anopheles. Now, this is the recently published paper which is taken from scientific report. Now, this is what I would like to, quote. This is because this is what recent research is going on. So, what lesson is to be taken from this? Because they have utilized this just to control the Anopheles gambiae in the North Ghana. So, we also try to look after that how this Anopheles gambiae or the other Aedes aegypti can be controlled by taking different chemical or different kinds of the sprays or different chemical composition. We can extrapolate because what message to be taken from this international scenario, how we can keep the mosquito population under control by using appropriate. This is recently published because this is one of the recently papers cited by the person, that is Sylvester Coleman, published in the Nature in the scientific report. That's why I'm showing this one. Similarly, there is a pollinator communities. Now we are looking for the pollinator communities, role of pollinators, role of insect. This is also one of the important, because this is also published in the Nature scientific report, recently published in 2021. Now, why? Because why I'm telling this, that pollinators are equally important. If you study properly, if you plan a pollinator study in a scientific manner, definitely you can publish your paper in a Nature scientific report. Because see, these kinds of the reports which are published in the scientific reports, why not from our data? Why not? The data can be generated from our area, and you can go for these kinds of the study. For example, how these kinds of the ornamental, now my point is that herbaceous perennial ornamental plants can support complex pollination communities. So you can generate more complex pollinators, pollinating agents or pollinators, especially insects, and come up and publish these kinds of research in one of the best research, that is Nature scientific report. Okay, this is what which I would like to show you. Now this I will skip. Now due to time, I won't be able to take it. This beta-2 tubulin, RAD 50 ATPase, and cis regulatory region mediated. These kinds of the compounds which mediate the male germinal expression trampoline. This is also one of the from the biological control point of view. So these people have tried. This is again recent research published in the scientific report. So this also you can think that way. Now I would like to show you now the pest on which I have worked. So this is what the part of the Armigera and the Achatina pulica which we have worked on. So we have worked on the Helicobacter of Armigera as animal model. We have isolated some bacteria from that, and these bacteria are utilized for the biodegradation of lignocellulosic biomass for the conversion of the death into secondary alcohol or the other industry related products. Okay. Now, for example, the recycling of agriculture waste and the term the reuse, reduce, and recycle phenomena that we are. See, for example, if you see, I would like to give the picture of the recycling, because we have a lot of agriculture waste that needs to be recycled. Now, how the recycling process going on across the globe. Now, for example, if you see the Canada, United States, see the percentage. The maximum percentage of the recycling of the waste is going on in Belgium. So that Belgium stands at the Singapore, so Belgium, Taiwan, Singapore. Okay, 58%, even Austria, 63%. So all these kinds of the data which tells about the utility or the recycling rates of the waste coming from different sectors. Okay, so this is again, I spoke about the biodegradation for the sustainable development. Now this where we are looking for the microbial technology. Why we are looking for microbial biotechnology? We are always looking for the microbes to be obtained, to be isolated from the animal model for the purpose of enzymes, vaccines, antibiotics, insulin and growth hormones, detectors for bioterrorism, decontamination process for industrial waste. Now see, this is the extrapolation of our research work. So we are looking for one point, that is we are looking for enzymes or vaccines. But beside that, you also look for the antibiotics. You also look for the insulin and other growth hormones which are coming from the bacteria, or manipulation of microbial DNA. Okay, how that is created for organisms that manufacture the foods. So this is microbial biotechnology can be taken up by zoologists. That means you'll have to approach interdisciplinary approach to be developed, for further study. Now this is what method of degradation we are studying in detail. I don't want to give the just detail. We are looking for always biofuels, amino acids, vitamins, enzymes, and biocontrol agents. Now we have tried this animal or the insect pest, that Helicobacter parmigera, for the biofuels and for the biocontrol agents. Okay, this is the methodology and the enzymatic hydrolysis which we have carried out. We have cellulose complex, how that cellulose complex is broken down to further into fermentable sugars, and how that fermentable sugars is finally utilized. Okay, so these are the lignocellulose bacteria. So we have design objectives like study of bacterial load from the gut of Helicoverpa armigera. You can replace H. armigera, you can select some insect, you can go for isolation, identification, and study phylogenetic study of isolated cell lytic bacteria, because cell lytic potential of the bacteria we identified, and we have explored this cell lytic potential for the biodegradation. So again, there is a biochemical characterization, isolation, cellulose enzymes. This is scientifically you have to do it. So this methodology we have done for the Helicoverpa armigera. So this is what we have done: isolation, enumeration of bacteria from the snail as well as from the Helicoverpa armigera. By this procedure followed. Now we have done scientific method by using standard protocol, identification and the phylogenetic analysis. We have grown the culture, we have allowed for DNA isolation, we have done agar-gel base, we have done PCR. After doing PCR, again what all the 3 steps of the PCR, we have taken it down 1% agarose, we have done sequencing, sent to NCBI, and we have identified close related genera, and we have done alignment, and we have finally constructed phylogeny, and that would help us to that which bacterial isolate has a potential, or which the bacteria isolate that is more potential or having promising key activity for the biodegradation that is identified. Of course, we have studied the cell lytic potential, studying with the different enzyme assay, and same thing it is processed now. See, the summary which I would like to tell here, that the summary of that work which we have done here, that is published in the journal, published by elsewhere, Process Biochemistry. The name of the journal, Process Biochemistry. So they have taken care of our research work, and they have published the paper. They're dealing with exploring the gut of Helicoverpa armigera for cellulose degrading bacteria and evaluation of potential strain of lignocellulose biomass deconstruction. The whole story, the full thing was mentioned in this paper. Please refer this paper if you want to know more details about that. The exploring the Helicoverpa armigera as a cellular degrading bacteria. Please refer this paper, recently published in 2018, that is in Process Biochemistry. So this result, what we got, of course, we have done it, the enrichment method, we have studied total viable count of that, screening of the cell lytic bacteria by standard method, what methods which we are using as per the standard microbiology method. We have done screening, we have isolated bacteria, cell lytic bacteria, we have done hydrolytic capacity of that also as per the standard methods, and also we have isolated and identified cell lytic bacteria, which bacteria is more appropriate by studying the now this is phylogenetic tree is constructed by studying the bootstrap values, okay, which the isolates has a maximum potential that we have isolated, and that is what allowed exposed for the different substrates, and we found that has a maximum activity. For example, as far as this is concerned, KDP G9 KR866144. So this is isolate which we have identified for the cell lytic potential to biodegrade that substrate or bioconversion. So this we have done biochemical tests we have performed, and also the growth curves also we have done scientifically. And how to confirm that? Not only that bacteria is doing that kind of work, we have tested, okay, in the laboratory. We have confirmed by providing substrate, maybe agriculture substrate or maybe filter paper or maybe any other kind of a substrate that is allowed to bacteria. You can see in the first, there is a control we have taken in second. You see when the bacteria exposed to the substrate, you see after treatment, you see there is a C and D, how it looks like, because that substrate is disturbed. The sculpture or the original sculpture of that substrate is disturbed, and that disturbed sculpture is studied under scanning electron micrograph. So you can see very clearly here the photograph of A and B slide, and also we have taken grass straw without bacterial treatment and after treatment, and also we have studied scanning electron microscopy, and that photo which looks like here. Of course, there are some other photographs also there, like filter paper. Also, we have some grass straw grass straw as a substrate. Definitely, it undergoes the deconstruction or the degradation of that straw. Similarly, the bioconversion, because our aim is that bioconversion of lignocellulose biomass into the value-added products. So these are the enzyme activity. Of course, we have done in tested enzymes, because what is important here, the enzymes which you obtain from this bacteria or from isolate, that is important, whether that enzyme has ability to degrade the material or to biodegrade that material or not. So that is compared. Of course, we need to compare, we need to study the enzyme activity. Then only then that become possible, otherwise no. If suppose that enzyme is not showing activity, then no use of that, because this enzyme what we have studied, or this is what this slide this explains us that we have different substrates like endoglucanase, hexaglucanase, hyalinase, and the glucosidase activities reported with this kinds of substrate. For example, we have different substrates. How these enzymes, set of enzymes, we have the complex or different sets of enzymes, how they work. For example, endoglucanase, hexoglucanase, xylanase, and the glucosidases, how they work on the substrate like wheat husk, filter paper, sugarcane baggages, grass straw, etc. So these are the activities which we have reported so far. Not only the activity, but also we have tested at what pH that enzyme that works. Okay, so this is what effect of pH also we have studied, how that crude endoglucanase enzyme that works on the selected isolate, that is Bacillus thuringiensis G9. That got the promising isolate which we have discovered so far. Also, we have studied the temperature, effect of pH, effect of temperature, because these enzymes works appropriately under optimum conditions of temperature, pH. Okay. Not only that, also we have tried metal ions, effect of the metal ions on enzyme activity. So that is also we have studied. And finally, the substrate specificity of the enzyme, that is also we have studied. See, we have taken different substrates like abyssal, CNC, glycogen, PNP, starch, xylem. These are the substrates we have studied, and we have noted how these kinds of enzyme that works. The conclusion of that, this study provides, now see, as I told earlier, very important part of this talk is that this study, that means whatever the work we have done so far in our laboratory, that provides first description of the cell-lytic gut bacteria, bacterial community from the Helicobacter. This needs to be taken here. This needs to be noted. What is we have published in the process biochemistry, that this is going to be first report, and this is unique report which we have published. And second is that the potential cell-lytic bacterium, that is B. teculensis G9, was isolated from the gut of this pest. Cell-lytic report here of this isolate was checked on various agrowaste like SCB, GS, WH, etc. That means different agriculture-based substrates we have tried. Further, crude cellulose enzyme produced by the bacterium was characterized for the effective hydrolysis of the LCW, lignocellulosic waste. So that is what further hydrolyzed chemically to convert, to have a conversion into value-added products. That was the conclusion of that paper. Now, in short, now I'll have to, this is what I already spoken. The zoo taxa, which we have what new species which we have discovered so far from the northern part of the Western Ghats, the new species of the frog, that is the Phaserovaria marathi. So that is published in this paper, that is article zoo taxa. This is published recently in 2019. That is the new discovery that comes from our lab, species called as Phaserovaria marathi. So that name is given to the marathi. This is unique discovery which I spoken about already. Now, one more paper that I wanted to talk about is the importance of genetic data. Now, why this genetic data we have looked for? We have looked for this genetic data to resolve the cryptic species, because this is one of the complex, one of the cryptic species problem which we were facing. The scientists are facing that all the species of one animal appearing the same, morphologically similar, or due to some phenotypic expression or due to some morphological characteristic features. But how to identify correctly? What are the scientific methods to identify? So that's why we have taken these efforts to provide a solution for resolving cryptic species problem. How to solve the cryptic species of the complex of the species which created so far from earlier days. Now this is a century-old problem of understanding the distribution of Minervaria sciadrensis. Now this is what the frog, again we have studied from Western Ghat, that this was the problem lying since century. That means people were confused that whether this is Minervaria sciadrensis or something else. Some people may come with some Minervaria, some other species. Some people come with some Minervaria, some other species. Okay, there was a confusion. That means that was remain for longer period as a cryptic species that remain in complex. So the century-old problem that we have understood and we have solved to understand the distribution of the species Minervaria sciadrensis. And this is what we have published. More details, please refer for more details of understanding the genetic data of this species, especially Minervaria sciadrensis. Please refer the Zoo Taxa Journal article published in 2020. Now this is paper which I have published. Now these are the papers. Now I would like to show some of the papers. So we have published paper International Biodegradation and Biodegradation. So paper which I was talking about, the prospecting the gut fluid of giant African land snail. See, not only we have worked on the insect, but also we have utilized some other vertebrate models like giant African land snail. Now this is very commonly available in part of Nasik district. Now the researchers, what message we have to take it that how to tackle or how to study this African giant giant snail, the Achatina fulica. What are the aspects, that means what sort of the work to be done on the Achatina fulica? Now what we are look for the prospecting the gut fluid. That means we have looked for the isolates the bacterial flora present in the gut of this animal land snail, and we have utilized that gut flora for the cellulose degradation, cellulose degrading bacteria and converting into value added products. So this is our first paper. I think this is published long back in 2018. The same thing is that this is what important for the degradation, cellulose degradation potential for the value added products. Now this again another paper. This again we have published from the Catetina pulica. The gastrointestinal tract of that is utilized for the cellulose biodegradation. And beside that, again, this is what which I spoke about. This is a paper which I published already. Now this again recent bioprospection and the application of chitinolytic bacteria. Not only we are looking for the cellulite potential, also we are looking for the chitinolytic potential. We are looking for the chitinolytic bacteria, the bacteria which are utilized for the degradation of the waste chitin. Now this can be extrapolated. The applications of this paper, that means what are the recent advances are going on in the bioprospection study and applications of these kinds of chitinolytic bacteria for the valorization of the waste chitin. Now, so this study provides insights for the control of insect pests. For example, see, a little while ago I spoke about the chitin body. The insect, they have the chitin body. How do we break down the chitinous body of that insect? Just to control point of view, or just to break down the chitinous layer, the chitin wall of the body, so that we can achieve the target of pest management, or we can control the pest, one who is really dangerous, one who is really serious. As and when it is needed to do so, you can do it. You can apply this kind of the techniques to control these kinds of insect pests by biological means or by eco-friendly way. Okay, so the same thing it is again. We also read this paper recently published in the Archives of Microbiology, and also see, not only that, based on our relationship or the whatever the work we have done so far in our laboratory, we have established the international relationship, international collaboration with the University of China. Now the one Professor Sun, who is doing a lot of work in the Department of Zoology or the Institute of Energy Research, Jiangsu University, Jiangsu Province, China. So he is one of the senior professor, Jiangsu Sun and Rong Zi. So these are the contributors of ours. So these are the scientists, leading scientists. They are working on the evaluation of cellulose degrading bacteria or cellulitic potential of the different bacteria isolated from different animal models, and they are doing excellent work in the field of the bioenergy or bioresource technology, bioresource and the bioenergy technology to provide immediate solution for the maybe for the energy or maybe for the problem of vehicles or the problem of the petroleum, the alternative to petroleum or to the source of energy. Could be bioenergy, could be resource, bioresource technology. For that purpose, the scientists are trying to provide alternative. How we can provide alternative to the sources of energy. Nowadays, for example, how far the diesel is going to be enough. The day will come, we'll see that this kind of the sources like petrol, diesel definitely come to an end. We'll see there is an exhaust, or we'll see that there is scarcity of these kinds of the diesel, petrol. How long it is going to be enough? Definitely, the time has come to provide us alternative to these kinds of the sources, renewable sources of energy. So this is what we have developed in international collaboration. Because again, I would like to say, quote here that one of my students, Budasarya Da, who is doing postdoctoral research in China, he has published that work and he is working there as a postdoctoral fellow in the Institute of Energy Research, Jiangsu University, China province. Okay.
Hello. Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. We have second session also lined up at 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This is okay. This is conclusion. Yes.
Yes,
okay.
sir. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Any queries? I will take it. I am happy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Also, you can take some question.
Yes, sir. There are few questions. First question is, are there any opportunities to MSc Zoology students in veterinary hospitals or in the government?
Yes. Definitely. I spoke about that. Veterinary hospital. For example, suppose animals are the domestic animals or the pets or other animals, suppose when they are suffering from any arthropod parasite, for example, ticks and the mites, okay, or some insect pests or insects which are doing damage or they are really pest of veterinary animals. Okay. Now, for example, if I quote here the arthropods like ticks and mites, okay. So these are the really cause of concern. That means these pests are there. So definitely there is a chance for the you people to join that veterinary hospitals or veterinary institution.
Right. So there is a second question. What type of jobs we get in pharma and biotech companies after MSc Zoology, and what are the positions we get in R&D section?
Okay. So if you do it immediately MSc Zoology, there are some different institutions. For example, Ross Life Sciences, established in Pune. They are running nowadays. They have private industry, Ross Life Sciences. I will tell you one of the example of my student. My student, he completed his MSc just 5 years before, and immediately after completing MSc, he joined that institute because he was having the knowledge of handling the insect models, handling the rearing of insect, for example, mosquito rearing or rearing of some other insect like pests, like cockroaches, mosquito, or some other insects. Rearing technology. So when he is expert in that, so definitely chance is given he can serve with doing simply PG. Okay, and by doing so, you can publish research article. You can keep on applying, and you can apply to the research scientists, starting with, for example, scientists IA, D, C, like that. So based on your expertise, the chance will be given to you to serve in different institutions, like as I mentioned, Indian Council of Medical Research. Okay, suppose you are having experience of mosquito, how to handle mosquito. Generally there are some recruitments are going on in ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. Definitely they are coming with information. Okay, you can apply for that. Okay, next question.
Yes. Ramnath sir, can you mute your mic?
Hi.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. This is all what are the questions which were asked by the participants. Then another question is there. What type of job do I get after a completion of PG from endocrinology?
PG, okay, endocrinology. Okay, endocrinology, as far as the endocrinology is concerned, dealing with the hormones. Okay.
Yes.
For example, suppose in endocrinology, what sort of expertise? You are handling the endocrine glands. Okay. Or just to study the diseases caused due to the imbalance in the secretion of hormones. Okay. Suppose you are expert in handling these kinds of the different endocrine glands. How to study histology or the histochemistry and detect or localize any unwanted or a chemical, suppose which is added or that is present in particular gland, and that is making that gland, to hamper the secretion of that. Generally the very few industries, very few institutions are there. They are giving chance for the MSc endocrinologists.
Right.
There are some other hospitals, for example, Ambani Hospital. Okay, they have the department, endocrinology department. Generally, they are coming with a recruitment that those who are having the expertise in the study of the endocrine glands, study of histopathology of endocrine glands, and the secretion, what sort of the secretion of the gland that comes in terms of hormones. Okay, so generally, the chances are very rare. Okay, so you need to develop your expertise in the field with your research and doing some expert work in the field. Okay, then I'm going to be absorbed.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Here, finally, I would like to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you, sir, for this great session on zoological research, current perspective, opportunities, and future scope. All the participants are enriched with knowledge about different sectors and opportunities in the field of zoology and allied branches. Being at student level, most of the students, they are unaware of the opportunities in the field to opt for in the future. However, after listening your today's session, the horizon, I would say, has widened, and they come to know different opportunities in the field of zoology. Your guidance will definitely help the students in their near future. Also, the students receive information regarding premier research institutes and government bodies of India which are working and how the students could approach these organizations. In second session, we got to know about the innovative research work that is going on in your premier laboratory. very importantly, the new frog species which was discovered, as well as the phylogenetic work which is undergoing in your lab. The name of that species, Marathi, which is a proud to all of the people of the Maharashtra. Sir, I again thank you for this informative session and propose sincere gratitude from Department of Zoology, KTHM College. I would also like to thank our respected principal, Dr. V.B. Gaikwad sir, our head of the department, Dr. V.R. Kakote sir, for giving us the opportunity to organize these informative sessions for the students of UG, PG and research scholars. Finally, I would like to thank all the participants for their patience hearing. So with this and with the permission of all dignitaries, I declare this session to be over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Once again.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. More? You.